Welcome to this felt emotions practice. This is a practice that looks at desensitization of how our emotions are felt and how they can affect our pain. To start a practice like this, we want to try and get into a relaxed position as best we can. And starting off with a breath practice, any practice that feels right for you, and this baby just taking some time to tune into the breath, just noticing our in-breath and our out-breath, noticing the rise and the fall of the chest and the tummy. And we're going to try and tune into this, kind of looking in terms of how our body's response to a memory. And we're going to start by having a look at how our response changes depending on our memory that we can recall. So to start with our eyes closed, we're going to try and recall a pleasant memory, or maybe a recent experience that's been quite nice and pleasant, maybe peaceful, or maybe even excitable perhaps. And if that's not available, which can happen when we're maybe feeling a little low, maybe doing something that feels quite pleasant to us, maybe a stroking of the hands, a little bit of light massage perhaps. And just try to take notice of where the feeling of pleasure within the body is. And it may be that we can have a little play about with where our hand may hover over that feeling. So if we're able to recall a memory and we're, immersed in that memory of the people that were maybe there, or the weather perhaps, what we ate, what we drank, what that feels like to us, and maybe then taking a moment to come inside of the body and just noticing where we feel that pleasantness, where that may reside within the body. For some of us it may be in a particular place within the body, or it may be over a sense of the whole body and how that may feel. It may be helpful hovering your hand, as I suggested, just over an area of the body if it's a specific area, and just taking notice maybe of the feelings internally when we're bringing that memory or that pleasantness into light for us. And we want to then just pop that pleasantness just to one side and bring another pleasant experience. So trying to have two of the pleasant things available. So it may be for those that have picked a pleasant memory to immerse themselves in, it may be then a pleasant sensation. So it may be the pleasant sense of touch or stroking of fluffy cushion perhaps, or it may be that we can recall another pleasant time or a pleasant experience that we've had in the past there, and just trying to be with that pleasantness, that peacefulness, or whatever we've chosen, and coming back into the body and trying to notice where that may be for you. This may be in the same or similar place. It may be that you feel it in a different place, and that's okay too. There's no right or wrong. It's just noticing where we feel that. And then we just take that pleasant away, just pop it to the side for a moment. And we want to try and recall something that's just slightly irritated us recently. We want to take care not to choose something big or difficult or anything particularly triggering. Just a slight irritant, somebody that has maybe frustrated you, or something that we've tried to do or that's maybe frustrated us. And just try and bring that to mind for a moment. And with that in mind, bringing our awareness into the body, noticing if we are feeling any sensations, And again, this may be different to the pleasant. It may be similar, it might be in the same place, but perhaps different. There's again no right or wrong way to experience this. It's just you taking time to take notice of what these feelings, these thoughts, how they present themselves internally in terms of our sensations. And if we can, when we've kind of got a couple of those pleasant and then the unpleasant, trying to move gently between the pleasant and unpleasant sensations. So this can take a little bit of practice, and it may be we need to go back to the thoughts and the memory, the recalling of that incident, that event, or the memory that we brought forward, to then home in on what that feels like. Or it may be for some, we might be in a place that we're very much aware of the sensations, how they may be similar, how they may be different. And what we may be able to do is pop our hands over those areas again, as that can, for some people, just help bring focus to the sensation in the areas that maybe covers, particularly if they're smaller areas rather than a whole body feeling or sensation. And we want to be trying to learn the skill of trying to swap between the pleasant and the unpleasant, as this is really important for people living in pain or with anxiety or low mood, as there tends to be a really strong tendency to get stuck in the unpleasant felt sense, so the experience and the feeling, regardless of what the environment may be for us. And to help with getting stuck on this unpleasant, we want to be spending maybe a bit more time within this type of practice with the pleasant, and doing a more kind of 2-to-1, 3-to-1 pleasant unpleasant ratio when doing this practice, and having a little play with the sensation, the feeling when we are recalling, bringing a event or a memory forward, and having a little play with that feeling and sensation. And when this becomes easier, because it often takes quite a little bit of practice, of just dabbling in this type of practice just for a short time, we can start to practice holding the sensations at the same time. So feeling both the unpleasant and the pleasant sense, the felt sensations. Again, maybe using a hand over both the areas if they're different, or above and maybe felt in different ways. And then trying to kind of be in a place where we can bring them almost together. A one-on-one sensation, then merging together. Maybe noticing how our felt sense maybe changes. Maybe bringing in another pleasant, if the pleasant feeling sensation starts to wear off and dissipate there. And just trying to notice how maybe for some people our feelings may have changed when we go to recall that irritating event again. When we're in a place where we can be with and we can sit with the unpleasant with a pleasant sensation there, and how maybe it becomes less demanding of our attention. And maybe trying to notice what might be missing if it does feel less big, less loud, or less irritating, if that's the felt sense that we had. And maybe taking some time to reflect on what held that feeling of the irritation or the unpleasant, and how that may have changed, having a little play about with this type of practice. And doing this maybe on a more regular basis, and again just for a short amount of time, it potentially can cause a more permanent shift in how we react to unpleasant. And this is by no means getting rid of unpleasant. Unpleasant and pleasant are both, emotions, feelings, sensations that we do experience as humans, and it's not something we want to be pushing away or trying to rid ourselves of, because that in effect is unhelpful with a pain sensation that remains for us. But maybe being in a place that it becomes less alarming to us, and being able to feel the experience without so much of a difficult response that comes from that. And to end a practice like this, we always want to be going back to a pleasant finishing, starting and finishing with pleasantness. So what we may want to do to finish is recall pleasant either sensation or experience, just sitting with that just for a moment there. Maybe bring attention back into the breath with the more pleasant sensation, taking notice of our breath in and our breath out, taking notice of the rise and the fall of the chest. And then if we've had our eyes closed still, or they're still closed, finishing this practice maybe be involving a little bit of movement, maybe wriggling the fingers or wriggling the toes, and opening our eyes to finish the practice.